Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
A school bus is involved in a serious crash, sending more than a half dozen people to the hospital. What we know so far. Plus, saving the bumblebee, the latest efforts to make sure they're not disturbed during the Rockford Airport's expansion.
If you're at all adventurous, you come out and find something different, something that might be better, I think.
And eating local. It's the week to try out a new dish at your favorite place or check out a completely new restaurant. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Eric is off tonight. 7 people are taken to the hospital after a crash in Ogle County this afternoon. It happened on Route 2 between Byron and Oregon. Route 2 is still closed between Camling and West Town Hall roads. 2 cars and a school bus were involved. The school bus ended up in the ditch. It's not known how many kids were on the bus, but we do know 3 of the injured came from the bus. Police on scene tell us 1 victim does have critical injuries. The other 6 have minor injuries. The Ogle County Sheriff's Office is still investigating that crash. We'll pass along any new details as soon as we learn them. A 16-year-old Freeport boy is accused of robbing another teen over an iPhone. Freeport police were called to West Douglas and Cherry on Saturday, just a few blocks from the police department. A juvenile told officers he was trying to buy an iPhone he saw for sale on social media. But that's when he said the 16-year-old pulled out a gun, robbing the other teen of cash and an iPad. In their investigation, police figured out the gun was not real, but they did arrest the 16-year-old and charged him with aggravated robbery. More than a year after a 52-year-old was murdered in Rockford, police make an arrest in the case. Herman Bowser was shot and killed January 1st last year near Church Street and Brown Avenue. Police responded to reports of vehicles being chased and shots fired. 24-year-old Antoine Lee is now charged in Bowser's death. Lee is currently in prison on unrelated charges. A warm weekend in Chicago comes with a cost. The city recorded its most violent weekend of the year. Between 5 p.m. Friday and midnight Sunday, 42 people were shot. 8 of those victims died. Despite the weekend uptick, Chicago has seen a 15% drop in shootings in 2022. Homicides are down by 10%. From New Year's Day to April 17th, there were 622 separate shootings in the city. 157 people have died from those injuries. A new report shows shootings are the leading cause of death among children and teenagers in the U.S. The CDC says firearms deaths caused by interpersonal conflicts rose to become the #1 cause of death in 2020. 45,000 people under age 18 were killed. At the same time, automobile deaths, the leading cause for 60 years, dropped to #2. At the beginning of the year, COVID numbers were at their peak here in the state line. Then they fell off. But now Illinois Department of Public Health warns numbers are inching back up. Across Region 1, there are currently 28 patients in the hospital with COVID, and only 18% of ICU beds are open as of right now. That's a change from just the beginning of April, when 24% of beds were open. It isn't just the state line. More than half the country is seeing a rise in new cases and COVID-related hospitalizations. This comes 1 week after Easter family celebrations and days after the federal mask mandate was canceled. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
Coast to coast, some schools bringing back mask mandates once again, including American University.
I would say kind of a comforting feeling that they were back, but almost like too little too late since our cases had already spiked.
Cases doubling over the last month in Washington, D.C.
There's a lot of partying that goes on and bar hopping and, just socializing amongst peers.
In Houston at Rice University, face coverings now required in classrooms and large parties have been canceled on campus. Over the last week, new infections up about 10% or more in at least 38 states and territories. Hospital admissions also rising, nearly 10% across the country. New variants largely to blame.
We have to just say with humility and honesty, I don't know what this next 210-mile-an-hour curveball is going to be thrown at us by these variants.
This just days after a federal judge struck down the travel mask mandate.
I just believe that it's too early to be taking away a small thing that helps prevent illness and death in so many people like a piece of cloth across your face.
Still, the best protection is getting vaccinated and boosted. More than 100 million Americans have gotten their first booster shots, but still about half of those eligible have not. The FDA now approving the use of the drug remdesivir for babies as young as 28 days old, weighing at least 7 pounds. It's the same drug that was given to former President Trump when he got sick with the virus, and it's the first to be approved for children under 12. On Tuesday, the Biden administration will announce a plan to increase access to Pfizer's antiviral COVID pill. That includes distributing it to more pharmacies and educating providers on the pill so that more people can get their hands on it. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Rockford's airport takes another step forward as it looks to complete a $50 million cargo expansion project. Officials tell us the FAA filed a biological assessment with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This will look at the potential impact any changes could have on the rusty patch bumblebee. Work on that area is still on hold. In fact, administrators tell us they're pushing that all back just in case.
And then one of the other items that's taking place, obviously with this review going on, we're going to move construction instead of trying to push for construction this summer. We're going to move the construction to the fall. And then we're going to also not construct or do ground disturbance, basically turn dirt or affect the prairie during nesting or flight season related to the rusty patch.
The airport hopes to have the consultation done by this fall. The price of oil is being blamed once again for our higher gas prices. In the Rockford area, you're paying about 6 cents more for a gallon of regular this week compared to last week. According to GasBuddy.com, the average price in Rockford is now $4.27. That's 12 cents lower than a month ago, but $1.30 more than the same time last year. Gas Buddy says the latest increase is due to oil prices that are now more than $100 a barrel. So with gas stations paying more for fuel, they're raising prices. According to local drivers, the fast fuel on Manchester Road in South Beloit has the cheapest gas at $3.93, followed by Costco at $3.94 and Woodman's at $3.99. What's for dinner? This is the week to get out and try something new. Stephenson County's second annual Restaurant Week is going on right now. Organizers say last year there was still a lot of carryout because of the pandemic, but this year the hope is to celebrate being able to go back in and sit down at local restaurants. 21 restaurants are taking part this week, each offering their own special to lure you in.
Saturday was our first day with providing our specials, and we absolutely had an increased crowd on Saturday and a lot of orders for the specials. Our regulars really had a good time with it. They were excited to have a change of pace.
Those specials at Big O's on the Hollow, brisket with mac and cheese plus a smoked prime rib wrap. Stephenson County Restaurant Week goes through Sunday. U.S. officials traveled to Europe over the weekend to meet with the president of Ukraine. This is the first time U.S. officials have traveled into war-torn countries since the conflict began. Alexandra Limon is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Good evening. The Secretaries of State and Defense traveled into Ukraine from Poland by train to meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We're told that meeting lasted 3 hours and that the U.S. officials pledged to continue providing support to Ukraine.
This was, in our judgment, an important moment.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the meeting between top American and Ukrainian officials happened at a time when Russia is failing in its primary goal.
To totally subjugate Ukraine, to take away its sovereignty, to take away its independence. That has failed.
Blinken says the problems for Russia aren't only on the battlefield.
A military that is dramatically underperforming, an economy as a result of sanctions, as a result of a mass exodus from Russia that is in shambles.
Officials also announced U.S. diplomats will begin returning to Ukraine starting next week, though reopening the U.S. embassy in Kyiv will take longer.
And as this fight evolves, their needs will change. And so as those needs change, we'd like to be one step ahead.
As part of the continued support for Ukraine, the U.S. announced an additional $300 million worth of military aid, plus the sale of $165 million worth of ammunition. Reporting in Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, it'll get cold tonight. Today has been a rather cold day compared to some of the temperatures we had from over the weekend. A freeze warning goes into effect tonight for all of northern Illinois. This begins at midnight and will run through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, how cold our temperatures get are going to be dependent on just how fast we get rid of some of the cloud cover that we currently have in place. Those clouds stick around a little longer, and that could actually hold our temperatures above freezing. But if we get rid of those clouds, and we've got at least a few hours of some clearing that takes place before and even during sunrise, and we could see a couple hours there where that temperature is down to 33, 32 degrees. So that's why that freeze warning is in effect. Now, we're usually not too far off from where we typically see our last spring freeze. Usually within that last week to week and a half of the month of April, yes, is when we typically get our last spring freeze. The earliest, April 7th, 2017. The latest, actually, 1992. May 27th was the last time that temperature dropped down to 32 degrees. Cloud cover here with us this evening, and those clouds are something that'll stay with us as the extent of them lift all the way back up through Minnesota, the upper Midwest, and the high plains. Thick in the cloud cover here this evening. A live look with our Mercy House Skytrack camera now out of the Park Hills Golf Course. Our wind has been a little on the blustery side. We've had kind of a windy stretch. Unfortunately, that wind also cooling off those temperatures. We're at 42 in Freeport, 44 in Rockford, but with the wind chill factor has fallen back into the 30s. 44 for weather watcher Sandy, just north of the Kirkland-Fairdale area. Relative humidity sits at 55%. 43 for Ben up in South Beloit. Couple of sprinkles out there with some of the cloud cover earlier today, but not expecting any precipitation here as we go through the night. Winds have been gusting near 30 miles per hour, and still that 30 mile per hour, at least close to it, wind gusts as of 5:15 here this evening. Winds sustained from the west, anywhere from 10 up to 20 miles per hour. Now, we are going to hold on to the wind too, so this will kind of limit, if we do clear out soon enough tonight, the frost potential, because we have that wind. We're not necessarily going to go completely calm. Winds will be from the west and northwest at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Temperature tonight down around 32. We're up to 51 for tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies, so we see a little bit more sunshine for the afternoon. Northwest wind 10 to 15, could have some gusts close to 20, at least for the first half of the day on Tuesday. Let's look at Futurecast. Does clear us out as we get into the morning tomorrow, and with that we get a few spots that drop near 32, 33 degrees. So like I said, if we're able to get a few hours of clearing taking place, those temperatures are going to fall, but again, limited on that frost potential at least tonight. Now watch what happens. We have sunshine tomorrow, upper 40s, low 50s for tomorrow afternoon. Cloud cover is expected to move back in, but may hold off until very early Wednesday morning. With high pressure moving overhead, light wind, we may actually have a better frost potential tomorrow night going into Wednesday. Clouds will stick with us Wednesday afternoon. This will hold our temperatures in the 40s for Wednesday, and we may even see a sprinkle or two during the afternoon. 51 on Thursday, better chance for some showers. Friday looking mostly dry there, Mimi. Could have a better shot of some showers and an isolated thunderstorm late Saturday into early Sunday.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
Fred VanVleet and the Toronto Raptors will try again tonight to avoid elimination from the NBA playoffs. They were successful doing that Saturday when they beat the 76ers. In that game, VanVleet sustained his left hip and he left with 5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. His day was done. So will he take the court tonight in Philadelphia?
I'm out tonight. Was able to get an MRI. Nothing too major, thank God, but definitely showing just a hip flexor strain. So I'll be out tonight, kind of take it day by day and go from there.
The Bulls will be facing possible elimination the next time they take the court. That won't be until Wednesday night. Their loss yesterday to the Bucks has put the Bulls in a 3-1 hole. The Bucks have outscored the Bulls by a total of 54 points in the last 2 games. The biggest difference is playoff experience.
Those guys been through it. At the end of the day, you got to give them credit. They've been through it. They're a championship team for a reason. We've gotten a taste of what it's like when a great team like that respond, and it's on us to regroup.
Jefferson High School has a new head boys basketball coach. He is L.C. Robinson. He's been an assistant coach at Easton and Guilford the last several years. But Robinson's old Jayhawk at heart. He graduated from Jefferson in 2004 and was part of an outstanding team that year that shared the Nick 10 championship.
Man, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better opportunity. It's always been a dream of mine to come back and, help my former school, man. And, the time I put in, I feel like, it's perfect timing.
More with Robinson coming up at 6 o'clock. Also new to District 205 is new Director of Athletics, Dawn Williamson. She is on her first full week on the job. She comes from Beloit College, where she most recently was the Director of Recreation and Activity. I got a chance to meet with her today, and tonight at 9 and 10, I'll share some of the things I learned about her, including what her focus will be for District 205 sports.
Candace will be back with another look at weather in just a moment, but first, here's what's coming up on News Nation tonight.
The new data about just how dangerous it is to be a police officer and what that means for your safety no matter where in America you live. Plus, new text from January 6th, why politicians keep texting people. That's On Balance. Here's Dan.
Thanks, Leland. Tonight on Dan Abrams Live on News Nation. The left-leaning media are always quick to the scene when police are even potentially on the wrong side of the law. But now the FBI director is asking why, with a major spike in attacks on police nationwide, why that same media remains silent. That's tonight on Dan Abrams Live.
That's coming up on News Nation tonight. It's available on the cable and satellite stations you see here.
We'll hang on to some of the cloud cover through much of this evening. The First Warn Interactive Radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. Clouds will clear out for a little bit here as we go through the night tonight. Freeze warning goes into effect for all of northern Illinois. This begins at midnight and will run through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So it might be a good idea to cover up some of the more sensitive, maybe some plants, flowers that have come up over the last week or so. 51 for tomorrow afternoon. There is a frost potential tomorrow night, actually a better frost potential than what we see here for tonight because the winds will be light. 49 for Wednesday, 50s through the end of the week.
All right, thanks, Candace, and thanks for watching. We'll see you at 6.